Bitcoin is close to becoming worthless.
Let's go. Now what's the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin's like rat poison.
Yeah. Oh.
The greatest scam in history.
Let's get it.
Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
Yeah.
Jingle bells ringing loud. Max and QnA wish to make you proud. Thank you for the Bitcoin cheer. Freedom tech we hold so dear. Listeners, you're the very best. Tuning in to our freedom quest. Software updates fresh and new. You keep us going, yes it's true. Welcome back to our ungovernable show. With every boost our bubbles grow. Every question, every note keeps us on the safety boat. From the hardware to code, feeling free, our joy explodes. Max and QnA work through the night, guiding you with festive fight. Boost of lightning in our chat, Bitcoin flowing just like that. Freedom calls when we respond. The Bitcoin brief, we go beyond. Every bit, every byte, ungovernable listeners don't comply, they bite. We're thankful, yes indeed, for every download and boost we read. You're the very best, tuning in to our freedom quest. Software updates fresh and new. You keep us going, yes it's true. Welcome back to our ungovernable show. With every boost our bubbles grow. Every question, every note keeps us on the safety boat. From the hardware to our code, feeling free, our joy explodes. Max and QnA work through the night, guiding you with festive fight. Boost of lightning in our chat, Bitcoin flowing just like that. Freedom calls when we respond. The Bitcoin brief, we go beyond. Every bit, every byte, ungovernable listeners don't comply, they bite. We're thankful, yes indeed, for every download and boost we read.
Snow is falling, freedom's crippling. Get those sets of exchange, no more starving. Underneath the trees so bright, digital dreams take flight tonight. Rudolph fleets with blinking lights, sleigh is filled with freedom tech tonight. If you've been good and stacked it well, Foundation's gifts will serve you well. Foundation makes the best by far. Bitcoin is a shooting star. Visit foundation.xyz. Passport Prime will set you free. Jingle bells and bits are spinning. A new world where we're all winning. Coding, shearing, perfect blend. Foundations, the gift that never ends. No more worries for your stash, sat secured in a flash. If you've been nice and oh so sweet, time to get that holiday tree. Foundation makes the best by far. Bitcoin is a shooting star. Visit foundation.xyz. Passport Prime bells and bits are spinning, a new world where we're all winning. Coding, shearing, perfect blend foundations, the gift that never ends. No more worries for your stash, sat secured in a flash. If you've been nice and oh so sweet, time to get that holiday tree. Foundation makes the best by far. Bitcoin is a shooting star. Visit foundation.xyz. Passport Prime will set you free. Jingle bells and bits are spinning, a new world where we're all winning. Coding, cheering, perfect blend foundations, the gift that never ends.
Under the tree, a gift so bright. Cake wallet holds my keys so tight. Bitcoin and Monero safe and sound. Merry Christmas all around. Sats jingling in the night, keys stored away from sight. 17, they got our back, keeping privacy right on track. Phones and laptops feeling grand. Android, iOS at our command. On Makos and Linux too. Cake wallet here for me and you. Sats jingling in the night, keys stored away from sight. 17, they got our back, keeping privacy right on track. Non-custodial, the gifts they bring, security tighter than a virgin's ring. Peace of mind in every way. With cake around, we all say yay. Sats jingling in the night, keys stored away from sight. 17, they got our back, keeping privacy right on track. Non-custodial, the gifts they bring, security tighter than a virgin's ring. Peace of mind in every way. With cake around, we all say yeah. Sats jingling in the night, keys stored away from sight. 17, they got our back, keeping privacy right on track.
Good morning, mate.
Hello, how are we doing?
Very good. I've missed you, you jet setter.
Yeah, my timelines are all messed up now. We're actually a week behind, aren't we? We should have recorded last Monday. But yeah, so apologies for, all three of our religious fans that were waiting for a show last week and it didn't surface, but it was for good reason. I was doing my jet setting thing again last week, was in New York all week. So I flew out on the morning where we would usually record. So this is why we're kind of a week behind schedule at the moment. So was in New York flew out Monday, came home Friday night. So I've just been catching up with sleep over the weekend. A couple of events down at PubKey. I ran a multi-sig workshop teaching people how to use Passport and in conjunction with Sparrow to set up a 2 or 3 multi-sig. That was a lot of fun. Really good turnout and some really kind of some decent questions as well along the way where people were, clearly quite engaged and were kind of going through that threat modeling in their head as to whether or not they deemed it necessary for their setup. At these types of events, I always kind of ask a question before I even get into the workshop itself. And this one was obviously on multisig, and I, said by a show of hands, how many of you guys use multisig? Fully expecting that, this is a Bitcoiner bar. Generally speaking, you get kind of more hardcore people that everyone was going to put their hands up, and I was going to be like, oh, fucking brilliant. So I'm just going to be preaching to the already converted. But it was the polar opposite. There was like one person. So I was like, okay, great. So hopefully you guys are going to learn something.
I thought you were going to say it was all multi-sig, and then I was going to say, I would say that would be skewed, because if I was in that bar and someone asked me, do you have multi-sig, and a raise of hands, I'd probably raise my hand because you don't want to be seen as a potential target.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah. Perhaps they were all just gaslighting me.
But they've gone the other way anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
they were all
target me.
Say, rob me. Yeah, rob me, follow me home. So that went really well. And then on the Thursday, there was like a Bitcoin trivia night that was headed up by Pete Rizzo of Bitcoin Magazine. That was really good fun. And we kind of dovetail onto the back of that to kind of give like a soft in-person launch of Passport Prime within, a couple of in-person demos and things like that. So that was a lot of fun to finally kind of show people in real life the early hardware production devices that we've got. Zach and I were there showing those off. And obviously, the biggest news item of the week was that on the Monday where I flew out, talk about bad timing, I was actually in the air when we launched it, was that we finally unveiled the covers on Foundation's latest hardware piece, the Passport Prime. So hopefully anybody that's listening to this has already listened to the podcast that Zach and I did with you. But if they haven't, then I would definitely urge you to go back and listen to that for all of the gory details. I think did we run for 2 hours?
About that, yeah. We went through a lot of stuff.
We did. So I won't go into the details here. All I will say is it was an incredibly successful launch. The amount of inbound traffic, well, the website crashed immediately. As soon as we launched it, Zach's keynote was 15 minutes long. And at the end of that, he had the URL for the website as to where you can go find more details. And literally a couple of minutes later, the website went down with all the traffic.
Wow.
So that tells you a lot about how the launch went. Luckily, the website team was able to revive it pretty quickly. Pre-orders have absolutely been flying off the shelves. We're going to be sold out if we keep this cadence up in a couple of weeks. We had no idea that it was going to go this quickly.
Did you not? I was kind of on the other way. I was like, because obviously I had little teasers and bits and pieces from both of you guys, and each time it would be like, oh yeah, it can do this thing. And I'm like, that's fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And then the next person would be like, oh yeah, it can do this thing. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool as well. And so by the time the launch came, I was like, I already know I want one of these things, and I imagine everyone else will as well. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
The point of surprise, I failed to add a final detail here. The point of surprise is that we've got two options right now when you're on the website that how you can kind of get your hands on Passport Prime. The first one is the early access program where you pay upfront now, full price of the device, which is $299. To incentivize that, obviously, you're going to be one of the first to get your hands on that device. It's one of the first 1,000 off the production line. And we're giving away a couple of free gifts with it as well. A case for the device to protect it, a extended 2-year warranty, and also a lifetime subscription to Envoy Plus, which is our subscription service that's coming up with kind of automatic backups and lots more exciting things in the future as well.
That's actually quite a big one, that, because that's
definitely
$60 a year. It would otherwise be.
It will be $60 a year, yeah.
So you think about, okay, you only have to use it for a few years and it pays for itself. That's actually
definitely
quite big.
We thought that was going to be the less desired product because number one, you have to pay up front for a device that was still in production. The other option was a $49 down payment to kind of join the queue and be one of the first people to get your hands on a device after we've cleared all of the early access program customers off first. So when we're kind of in full in-stock production mode, so to speak. We thought it was going to be heavily weighted on that, where people are just kind of joining the queue, giving a down payment of $49. It's like 75% the other way. Everybody wants it straight away. That was the point of surprise that most of us in the team didn't see coming. So yeah, it's been such a whirlwind kind of week since launch. Inbound traffic has been off the charts. Orders are absolutely flying out. Obviously, we got some pushback from the usual suspects.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a complete shock to me that not everybody loved every single aspect of the device. But you know what, right? And again, this was a little bit of a shock to me as well, but the usual suspect voices have been just drowned out 10 to 1 by the overwhelming positive feedback that we've had for the device. both in terms of like the architecture around KeyOS, the introduction of third-party applications and partnerships with Cake Wallet is going to be the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of people that love that side of things versus the 3 people that have got a bee in their bonnet about it. It's like it pales into insignificance essentially.
Yeah, I noticed that. And then you had sort of the little groupie types who were desperate for a pat on the back, who were kind of mouthing off without any understanding of what they were talking about. And I went at a few of them on Twitter because I was sick in bed. While you were jet setting, I was fucking dying. And the release had happened. And I was just like, I can't really do a lot else. I'll just argue with fucking retards online. There were certainly a few of them there waiting for their balls to be tickled. The majority of the interactions that I had were DMs and questions from people who listen to the pod who were just either saying, yeah, I've ordered one, or, oh, can you just tell me I wasn't sure about this or I wasn't sure about that? And then we'd go through it and they'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm ordering one. So congrats, mate. Big launch.
Yeah, no, appreciate your support. And I did notice that you were on a bit of a rampage, so appreciate you for that one as well. It was very fun to watch and to read. But yeah, it's been the best week of the company's history by an order of magnitude. So
wow.
We couldn't be happier with how things are going. And yeah, it's just heads down now to finish, put all the finishing touches to it to try and meet that deadline. If you have no idea what we're talking about and you haven't listened to the podcast with Zach and I and Max, go and check that out. You'll get all the gory details, and then just head to foundation.xyz/passport-prime and you can see it in all its glory there as well. Oh, speaking of podcasts, actually, I did get a chance to listen to one on the plane on the way out to New York, and it was the ASHIGARU one, which you recorded probably 2-3 weeks ago, was it, maybe?
Yeah, it was just when I was starting to get quite ill and I was like, oh, we've put so much effort into getting this pod.
Mm-hmm.
I was just honey and lemon tea trying to get through the through the interview. But I was pretty fucking excited to have that one, to have the exclusive on it.
Yeah, that was, well, we'll get into the details of the podcast in a minute, but like whatever you're using for this AI voice generation stuff is pretty impressive.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, maybe you'll have to let me know the details afterwards. I might be able to do myself out of a job eventually. But yeah, no, aside from that, it was really interesting to hear from them or an AI generated voice of them. I'm guessing it was that because they're a NIM, but good to see that they're kind of, coming a little bit more public, because I think that is a little bit needed sometimes to kind of gain a bit of trust, I guess, in a new project like this, particularly given the circumstances and stuff. So I personally found it very interesting. Listen, would urge people to go and check that one out. But what did you think of it?
Yeah, well, first of all, like I say, I was really excited to get the exclusive on it. And then it forced me to actually really start playing around and testing the wallet, because I, wanted to know what I'm talking about while I'm speaking to them. So, I'd sort of gone in loosely thinking, oh, well, this is just basically Samurai Wallet rebranded. And sort of I thought, well, I've already got Samurai Wallet. I don't know that I really need to fuck around with this. But since using it and doing a lot of testing on it, I'm really, really impressed. It is not a carbon copy. A huge amount of work has gone into this. And yeah, I'm starting to lean on it more and more. So great to hear from the team. It was great to hear that they are very focused on what they're doing. They don't have any sort of social media presence. They aren't shouting about what they're doing. They're just heads down and building. And I think that's for the best. So I thought, they need someone to talk about what they're doing, and Ungovernable Misfits will continue to do that. And as for the process, obviously we had to make sure that we keep them anonymous and make sure that there's no links in any way, whether that is voice or tone or anything that could potentially be linked. So what we actually had to do is record with a voice changer on their side and ours. Then we had to get a transcript written from that recording. Then I had to feed that into another bit of software and AI to create a voice for them to then speak it. And then I had to edit that and then line that up with my audio as if it was the first time that we were speaking. So it was quite a process to make it sound seamless. And a few people have reached out and said, I never knew that Novak Djokovic was actually behind ASHIGARU Wallet. And I can't confirm or deny whether it is him, but a lot of people have picked up on that.
That is very cool. You're becoming quite the AI influencer with all of your image generations and your voiceovers. And I think we're not far away from a point in time where I'm going to actually have to come to you for advice.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Oh, yes. The shoe's on the other foot now, yes. I feel like I'm behind. In all fairness, though, I do feel like I have been sleeping on the AI side of things. Like, I know you've been getting very much more involved in it recently, and I know Zach is a big proponent of using it kind of like as a troubleshooting tool on a kind of, I guess, like a search engine, so to speak. He raves about it, and this many people within my close circle can't be wrong about it. So I think I need to delve in a little bit more.
Yeah, it is amazing. And a lot of people, I can't remember what episode it was, we were talking about how much I spend on AI and other software a month. And it was like, and it's like, yeah, it's a lot, but it's also, you can just do so much more with it. And when you're pressured by time, it's well worth it. And just having that like crutch to lean on, these extra tools, like the things that I could do with ASHIGARU, being able to put out the artwork, all this kind of stuff, it is pretty incredible. Although there are times where, like the other day, I was using Grok and ChatGPT to try and troubleshoot. I was trying to do B2C pay, and I was trying to send to RTL, and I was having a problem. And so I asked ChatGPT and I asked Grok. Not that useful. They gave me a lot of information, but it wasn't quite right. And so I had to bring in Grok 2.0, black coffee, and he answered it bang, bang, bang. 3 questions, and I was like sat there for like 10 minutes, like like typing away, and they were both not that useful. And then I was like, right, Grok 2.0, literally fire the 3 questions off to coffee, and I just get 3 perfect responses back. Bang, 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 did it, and it worked. So it's good, but sometimes you can't replace a human being.
Especially one like black coffee.
Well, yeah, you could argue maybe he's not a human being.
That is very true. That is very true indeed. Before we jump into the news, I have a little Christmas present here for you. So just a little business on air type thing. I need you to send me an address later to send this through to. But when I turned up to PubKey on Tuesday afternoon, Thomas, one of the owners, handed me a package that had been left there for me. And Mr. Barnminer, the absolute legend, has sent us a couple of packs of jerky each. And it looks absolutely incredible. I actually haven't opened any yet, because my thinking was that I want to get you your pack first, and then we'll do a little on-air taste test the next time we record.
Oh, that would be really nice. Yeah, a little taste test, little advert for him. Thank you, Barnminer. I look forward to that.
Yeah, so we've got a mild one and a hot one each. So I don't know how your taste buds are with hot things, but...
depends how hot.
Yeah, me too.
Jalfrezi's about as hot as I get in the curry world.
Same here, yeah. Sounds like we're on the same sort of level. And
yeah, you go and have a jalfrezi, you're going to have some troubles in the morning, but after sort of mid-morning, you get along with your day. You have your coffee. The experience is slightly different than it would usually be. You run a bit hotter than you might usually, but you're fine. You start going a bit higher up, there are issues, and it's just not for me. The risk reward is not there.
Maybe we'll have the milk at the ready next time we record, just in case.
Well, thank you, Barnminer.
Yes, thank you very much, mate. I need to find a way to, because you wouldn't take any money off me, so I need to find a way to send you some sats without you having been able to refuse it. So, Max, if you have any ideas, let me know.
Yes, I actually do have some ideas. I know exactly how to get that fucking little goat.
Get him a little Christmas present, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we hit the boosts first?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, I failed to mention, a bit of a shorter show this week. We're both on a bit of a tight timeline. I'm still playing catch-up from last week, and Max has some adulting to do after this, so we're on a bit of a tight time scale. So let's hit the boosts, and then we'll hit the news, but there's no software updates this time around. First boost from our epic producer, Jordan, 50,000 sats. I disagree with you guys on the positive perception of Assume UTXO. I think that if it is needed, then as Eric Voskuil said, Assume UTXO is the final admission that Bitcoin Core is a failed architecture. The arguments are made for it. This is a quote: the poor people with good internet but no storage space are copes. Good engineering is possible. The sync speed benchmarks of LibBitcoin prove that. Well, if there's one person that I'm almost never going to disagree with from a technical perspective, it's Eric Voskuil, because he generally is absolutely on the money. And I do find it hard to disagree that saying that Assume UTXO is the be all and end all is an admission that Bitcoin Core kind of has failed from a sync perspective. I do think, though, pushing back a little bit, and I don't know what you think about this, Max, but in, let's say, mobile only environments, where people are comfortable with that trade-off of, yes, I'm absolutely not running a full node, but I don't need to validate the history, or it's less important to me to validate the history because I'm going to start a brand new Lightning wallet and I want it only on my phone. Like, I could see the use case for that in the fact that somebody is okay with that trade-off. They're going to create a new wallet where the chain history is less important to them and it's on a small mobile phone, blah, blah, blah. I could still see the use case for it.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. When I see people setting up Bitcoin wallets abroad and like people who are new, is that they're just running fucking wallet Satoshi. So with a lot of this stuff, like I kind of see it as a bit of a non-issue because no one's really using Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think that's fair in terms of, the rise of custodians as a quote unquote scaling solution.
I'm not saying that's right.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. Yeah.
It's just, I just kind of like some of these issues, like when people are talking about scaling, it's like, oh, will everyone have a UTXO and all this scaling? And it's like, again, I'm not saying it's not a problem in the future, but at the moment, basically no one gives a fuck. And anyone who does give a fuck is told by some retard with a mic in their hand, just use wallet of Satoshi. And it's like, great. I'm glad we're getting that message out.
Yeah. Tricky one. Okay, next up, Late Stage Hodl boosted with 10,000 sats and super long message. He just said, hey. Hey, Late Stage Hodl. Hope you're well.
Compliant Banana with 10,000 sats. We, Bitcoin Derby, would like to extend our gratitude to all of you ungovernable misfits, and we would like to invite you to the first meetup of 2025, the Brunswick Inn on January the 11th at 3 p.m. Find us on Telegram, X, and Nostr. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Don't be compliant bananas. Be ungovernable. #FreeSamurai.
When you read that it was Bitcoin Derby, I was really hoping that was going to be some Brit from the Midlands.
Yeah. Is it
Derby?
Derby?
And then they said, yeah, Derby. But then they said the Brunswick Inn, and that does sound a little bit American, doesn't it? So I think they probably are a Yank.
Yeah, so it's not Derby, UK then?
I'm guessing not. The Brunswick Inn.
I don't know.
Yeah, you never.
Don't be compliant bananas. I feel like a Brit is more likely to say don't be compliant bananas.
I'm just searching for the Brunswick Inn now to see where it is. It is brunswickderby.co.uk, so yeah, you did get it wrong. Well, thanks for your message, Derby.
It is Derby. Okay.
brunswickderby.co.uk is the website for the pub. Bit of a free shill there for them. But yeah, so it is from the UK.
Very nice. Well, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, I might see if I can head up to Derby for it.
Maybe we share our beef jerky up there.
That would be cool. My beef jerky is not going to last until January the 11th. Once it's open, it's gone in a single sitting. Thanks for your message anyway. Oh, Jordan's back again. 10,000 sats. QnA, I think you need more channels, dude. Always root failing on bigger boosts.
Oh, yeah. He contacts me about this daily. Every day, Jordan calls me and goes, I'm really worried about QnA. His channels, he doesn't have enough of them.
Yeah, there's a couple of things here. Number one, I've almost always got liquidity because I barely use Lightning. So I don't think the channel size is the issue. I do only have one channel. It just sits there dormant and, I get the odd zap and I get the odd podcasting 2.0 stuff, but it's never full. The main issue is that I self-host it. And I self-host it all through BTC Pay server, which runs at home on a computer, and it's all reverse proxy through VPSs, blah, blah, blah. And that's the shit that just falls over all the time, and my certificates expire and all that sort of stuff. So generally speaking, that's the problem, and I have the same issue with people trying to zap me on Nostr. So yeah, it's just once again, a problem with self-hosted Lightning.
Well, I'm just letting you know that he's concerned and he believes you should have more channels than just one channel. And when I was setting my BTC Pay up, he was like, just Max, don't be like you. Don't have one channel. And so what I've done just to defy him for now is I've just actually opened one channel, and I'm going to wait until after Christmas to let him sit and stew and be annoyed. And then in January, I will open a second channel.
Nice. Okay. Well, maybe no promises, Jordan. Maybe I'll open another channel just to make you happy.
We could open one together.
Let's do it.
Ooh.
8 Mithrandir, 7,777 sats. It said Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir.
At 96D18690049457C31E sent 6,666 sats. Great podcast. Found you guys through Fountain. Murica, 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 Murica flags. Thank you, mate.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Fountain doing its thing there. Nice to see.
Yeah.
At We All Eat, 5,421 sats. And they said they're about to shit their pants.
Lie. He already has. Unpronounceable. Oh, fucking hell. I pronounced it wrong so many times they've changed their names. at unpronounceable, aka Po Jan Mies. With 5,000 sats. I recommend everyone to get a BTC clock, if only for the fact that NVM, I think he might mean someone else, but NVM, is acting like a moron. The statement jury posted how he was more or less interrogated by NVM's team on a conference. They recorded him via phone without asking before. Good reason to avoid CoinKite. I also recommend a BTC clock to you, Max. If you own one, you could have realized your bit axe went down. BTC clock has integration to show status and hash rate, by the way. I own a BTC clock, or BT clock, but someone in the household is annoyed and disconnects it from time to time. More education needed, I guess. Okay, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's a recent development, actually. I think Keith Mukai from the Seed Signer team has had some input to this to add all this functionality. So, yeah, I've also noticed this and very cool. I think I'm going to order one over Christmas because I think they're back in stock now. Last time I checked, they didn't have any. So hopefully if they're in stock over the holidays, I'm gonna get myself one ordered up.
Okay.
Oh, that was the other thing I saw as well. They've started making them look like seed signers now as well, where it's like white on one side and orange on the other.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I commented on Twitter on the photo to say that you're going to give a certain someone an aneurysm combining a BTC clock and a seed signer in a single device.
Yes, well, it's all good fun.
Indeed.
I might have to get one of those.
Yeah, they look like good fun. FOMO Chronic 1001 sats, just with a heart emoji. Thank you, sir or madam.
Good Morning Bitcoin with 1,000 sats. Thank you for being one of the top shows on goodmorningbitcoin.com. Thank you. That's very kind. I think we were last time as well, weren't we?
We were indeed, yeah.
Yeah, good to know.
At AIBLE, 801 sats. Great conversation as always. Thank you.
Sats Misfit with 500 sats. Lift Pay sounds good for retailers. Don't know what it is.
Likewise.
Okay.
At Pies, 100 sats. I actually love England and you British see you next Tuesdays. I love soccer and the hooliganism culture in general. Also love grime music, but I hate your communist-leaning government, so do we. And most of your communist population, so do we. So until you see you next Tuesdays rise up and take back your sovereignty like us badass Americans, I will continue with the England equals poop emojis.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
I mean, yeah, can't argue with that.
No, fair enough, mate. Pies again. Beers, cheers, mates, you bloody fucking cunts. America equals number one, England equals shit.
And final one, PRNZAN with 20. Oh no, that was the date. They somehow boosted with 0 sats, but said good listening.
Okay.
Looks like you hacked the system there. So nice.
The boost is the message, maybe.
Perhaps because you grabbed these from Fountain, it could have just been like a repost on Nostr without any sats on it.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
But anyway, we appreciate the exposure. Thank you, sir or madam.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, so yeah, before we move on to the news again, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that supported the show this year. This will be the last one of 2024.
It will.
Can't believe I'm saying that already, but yeah, we do really appreciate all of you people getting involved with questions, retweets, renotes, and boosts and stuff like that. It really does help. So just want to say thank you and a Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. We do appreciate it.
Okay, start kicking off the news section with some very happy news. Mr. Craig Wright, aka Not Satoshi Nakamoto, has been given a suspended 1-year sentence in prison for continuing to sue Bitcoin developers. Craig Wright was sentenced to a 1-year prison by a UK judge for contempt of court. The sentence is suspended for 2 years, meaning he will only serve time if he reoffends during that period, which is the unfortunate part of this news article, unfortunately. But knowing Craig Wright, I think there's a distinct possibility that he might reoffend. So, at a UK High Court hearing recently, Justice James Edward Mellor ruled that Craig Wright violated a previous court order by filing a 1.15 trillion lawsuit against Bitcoin developers and Square in October. This order has prohibited Wright from publicly claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's creator, and from taking legal actions based on that claim. Justice Mellor also ordered Craig Wright to drop his latest lawsuit against Square and Bitcoin developers, stating that each contempt charge was unquestionably proven. So, nice to see that he's been taken down by the system that thought was going to back all of his claims.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah, indeed. He's also been told to pay back some legal expenses. So COPA, Crypto Open Patent Alliance, is going to be reimbursed for by £145,000. And Craig Wright missed the UK court hearing on Wednesday to address contempt charges, citing £240,000 in lost business. Where does he actually get his money from? Do we know? Is it his little side chick fella? What's his name?
The little Asian persuasion. Creepy little, is he the lawyer? Or he's like an accountant or a lawyer.
Something like
Jimmy
that,
the Snake or something he's called, isn't he? Or something like that.
Yeah, I can't think what his name is now. That's where he's still getting all of his money from.
Well, I don't know. I mean, or it could be like BSVers or something. Like maybe he has a direct line of credit with some of them. Like
Surely
they haven't lost enough.
That tap's going to be running dry pretty soon, surely.
I mean, you would think so. There is a point.
Oh dear. But yeah, like you say, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And did I read somewhere that he's also not necessarily in hiding, because clearly we wouldn't know about it if he was, but isn't he in Thailand now or something?
Something like that. I don't know.
He suits being in Thailand, doesn't he?
He does.
Just like a dirty old man.
Yeah. I think that's his place. Good luck to him. Well done, mate.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, on to more serious news. The Samurai Wallet pre-trial hearing that was due to be on December the 17th has been postponed all the way until March 12th, 2025, delaying it by a further 90 days. So I'm not sure on the reasoning behind this, but I think aside from the human aspect of this, where obviously the two individuals in question have got to sit for another 90 days with some kind of uncertainty. But I did hear a podcast recently with one of the lawyers, and he was saying that they have so much discovery to get through that this could actually be a positive because it gives them more time to go through all of the details. There was something really stupid quoted, like the amount of information that they were given to go through was like more than
the moon and back, a certain amount of time.
Oh, here we go. It's here, yeah. Samurai Wallet's defense compared the discovery to 75% of the entire Library of Congress and printed out papers reaching the moon and back 22 times over.
What the fuck? Well, that is just a way to tax their time then. It's like, we're just going to keep you so busy to try and read through this information that you're not going to be able to do your jobs. That is an obvious attack. Like, what is the need for that amount of information to throw that kind of bullshit at them? But like you say, like at least it gives them more time. But I'm just thinking about T-Dev and Samurai just, like you say, having to sit. You know, when I've been in situations where you're waiting for something that could potentially be bad, actually the worst part of it is the waiting.
Yeah.
It can seriously mess up your health and mindset and everything else. And I just hope that they have family around and people who can support them and try and take that pressure off. And all of the ungovernable misfits are sending our love their way. And yeah, stay strong, guys, and you get through it.
Yeah, indeed. Just scrolling down, that amount of discovery is the exact reason it was postponed. So it seems like there is a little bit of common sense prevailing here, and giving the guys the best chance to kind of get through that information and to fight all of this. And final piece of information here is that the actual trial date itself has been scheduled for November the 3rd, 2025. So this shows no signs of coming to an end anytime soon. But yeah, the next hearing is in March next year. So as always, we'll keep you up to date when that time comes. Okay, next up, more legal news. Roman Storm, the co-founder of the mixing service Tornado Cash, the Ethereum-based one, has renewed his appeal or argument for a dismissal of and to drop all charges after an appeals court recently found sanctions against the platform's smart contract were completely unlawful. So I think we might have covered this on the last show, where I think it was they were placed on the OFAC list, and a court ruled that you can't put these addresses onto the OFAC list because kind of nobody controls them and they're not kind of under human control. So it appears that Roman Storm has obviously seen that news and kind of is using it to shore up his defense and actually saying, look, whoever was behind that court ruling is able to understand that, yes, Roman Storm might have been part of a team that created that kind of smart contract, but once it was created, they have zero control over it. So he's using that now as the basis, as a legal basis, should I say, to kind of push back against his own prosecution to then kind of, I guess, what would the term be? Exonerate himself and kind of, get the entire case completely dismissed. So yeah, a little bit more on the positive side, and obviously I wish him well there and hope that there will be some more continuance of some common sense from the US legal system.
You can only hope.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, more happy news. Do you remember the Greenpeace Change the Code campaign?
Very well. My favourite campaign.
Where they literally set fire to, like, I don't know how much it was, probably like $10 million to try and make Bitcoin green again. Backed by Greenpeace. I think there was actually some big players behind this. Basically what they were saying is that they were trying to shore up some support to change Bitcoin's code, and they were advocating for us to move to proof of stake, etc., to quote unquote reduce Bitcoin's, what's the term I'm looking for?
Carbon footprint.
There you go, carbon footprint by X amount of percentage, and make Bitcoin, good for the planet. Obviously, we all know, if you've been in Bitcoin for more than 5 minutes, you know that was a complete non-starter, and that moving to a proof of stake system like Ethereum is, a one-way ticket to centralization hell. Clearly, it never gained any traction, and they have obviously wanted to cut their losses after setting fire to a few $1 million to try and change this. And would you believe it, Max? Not a single pull request was ever made to actually change the code.
Shocking.
Yeah, shock horror.
Yeah, shocking.
Who'd have thought that was going to go nowhere, hey?
Yeah, well, I mean, at least they've burned a few $1 million. That's all you can take from that is good.
Yeah, true. Okay, on to the vulnerability section of the news. There's a couple of big ones coming up here. So, Wabisabi vulnerability allows malicious coordinators to de-anonymize coin joins. So, a vulnerability in the Wabisabi protocol, which for those of you who are less entrenched in the privacy circles, is the protocol that backs the Wasabi wallet CoinJoin service. I think there's a few others that use it as well that have popped up since their whole kind of shutdown. They include BTC Pay Server and Ginger Wallet as well. So the vulnerability allows malicious coordinators to de-anonymize users' coins and link inputs to outputs, compromising the privacy of the CoinJoin participants. Users are urged to update their instances immediately. A couple of quotes here that, given that this attack can be carried out without raising suspicion and lack of a client-side check on previously issued events, the vulnerability is highly exploitable by any party running the coordination service. So basically, you could be getting completely screwed, paying for a service, and gaining absolutely zero privacy, where the coordinator is able to essentially just link all of your inputs to all of your outputs. Most CoinJoin services offer what's called a blinded service, which basically means that even them as the coordinator is not able to link, input A to output D or whatever it is. Whatever the specifics are around this vulnerability basically just means that is completely not the case with the Wabisabi protocol, and that if you're a malicious coordinator, you can de-anonymize everybody that takes part and get paid for the privilege. So again, this is one of the many reasons why we and many others were urging people to exercise some caution, particularly when considering flocking to some of these coordinators were free as well, which always was a bit strange to me. Seemed to make sense, sometimes that I think they were doing it on the thought process that if I don't charge any money for it, then, law enforcement might not come after me. But that also means that some of these coordinators have amassed a serious amount of volume in a very short space of time, despite them being the operators being anonymous. And now that we know that they could completely de-anonymize anything, it's like, well, who were these actors really? What were their incentives? Did they know about this, ahead of time? Have they just basically de-anonymized?
Well done. You've just managed to put yourself on a list.
Exactly.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That's why, I did a pod with Urban Hacker going into the nitty-gritty details of pros and cons of using that service. And at the end of that conversation, it was, like you said, tread very, very carefully, if at all. And it is not advised.
Yeah, indeed. And in fairness, there's an old lead developer that goes by Nothing Much on Twitter. That's their handle, that has been shouting about vulnerabilities similar to this since he was either left Wasabi or was removed from Wasabi, basically around the time that they started to do all of the censorship on the default coordinator before it got wound down. He's been shouting about this sort of stuff for months now. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have kind of hit home until now. I'm glad that it's getting the publicity that it deserves. So I've also seen a couple of comments, and again, I have not been able to validate whether it's true or not, but there's also a couple of comments that even if you do update, that there is no guarantees that this is for a client to guarantee that this has actually been fixed yet. So exercise extreme caution if you are using these types of protocols, that even though the No Bullshit Bitcoin article that you'll see in the show notes here says users are urged to update their instances, I have seen comments from more technical people than myself that say that this is still not enough. So yeah, we just tread very carefully if you're a user of those types of services. Okay, next vulnerability is on the Lightning Network. And this was a big one. It essentially allowed a compliant or a miner to steal 98% of the funds from your Lightning channel. And this affected all of the popular Lightning node implementations. So Eclair, LDK, LND, and I believe, Core Lightning as well was also affected. So I'll give you a brief description here. So if a channel is opened by Mallory with a counterparty Bob, I didn't come up with that name, by the way, I'm reading this from the disclosure. So if Mallory opened a channel with Bob, Mallory performs the following steps. She moves 99% of the balance in her channel to her side by rebalancing or receiving funds. She updates the off-chain Lightning Network commitment transaction to allocate 98% of the balance to on-chain transaction fees. She again updates the commitment transaction to restore fees to a minimum acceptable level, and then moves 99% of the balance to Bob's side of the channel, and then broadcasts or personally mines the version of the transaction that pays 98% of the balance to the fees.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think the prerequisite here, because that can get very confusing very quickly, is that if you have a direct channel with a miner or somebody that has an offline relationship with a miner, it means that you can be malicious and have the miner mine an incorrect state of the Lightning channel, essentially, that allows you to steal most of the funds within there. Does that kind of make sense?
Mm-hmm. Quite a serious one then.
Yeah, indeed. So as long as you're up to date with your Lightning node within the last, I think, month or so, then you're probably already protected about this. It's way longer than that, actually. So Eclair fixed this in February. LDK fixed it in May, LND fixed it in July, and as of 12 days ago, it seems that Core Lightning remain vulnerable to the worst case scenario if a certain setting is enabled, which is called ignore fee limits. So if you are just a default user, it sounds as though you're already protected against this. So no cause for panic here. But
right.
Maybe if you're a Core Lightning user, click the link in the description and then check out that flag setting that would keep you vulnerable to this, and just check whether or not you've got that enabled. But otherwise, if you're up to date, you're already covered. But that was a pretty bad one, and it looks like it was discovered by the right people and not the wrong people that were able to exploit it, which is good. But once again, always one of the trade-offs with using cutting edge Lightning software is that there's always undiscovered bugs. Okay, final vulnerability. The Proton wallet has had a fix on their encryption vulnerability. So the preview version, and that is the important part here, is the preview version. So if you only got access to the wallet after the main release, you are absolutely fine with this. So the preview version, which was launched in the summer of 2024, basically had a low entropy kind of generation. Basically, they were using terrible entropy to generate their wallet because you couldn't, I think at the time, import any seed words or anything like that.
Oh, so when you're generating a seed using their wallet, the entropy's very bad.
Yeah, so they use poor random number generation essentially.
Why? How?
Exactly, yeah.
What?
This was a problem, let's say 10 years ago in Bitcoin, where wallets were just using shitty entropy and that was quickly getting exploited. We shouldn't be in this
Not Proton.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've got a huge team behind them. Maybe the Bitcoin team is very small. I don't know, but they were generating seeds that were just 32 bits of entropy, which is clearly not enough.
That's mental.
Yeah, people were. I don't think that it was actually exploited. I think they found it themselves. In fairness, but basically they were able to brute force wallets.
Yeah,
and so not good. But it's been patched. So as long as you're again up to date, well, I say Proton, it's like a hosted thing, so they'll be up to date for you.
but hold on.
Maybe, well, if you've got like a dormant wallet that you use as part of the early access program thing, if you've got any funds in there, get them off quickly and then start yourself off with a new wallet.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like an update's not going to fix that. Yeah,
Correct.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You sweep those. Okay. Well, yeah, I am surprised by that because they aren't a rinky-dink outfit. They are
Exactly.
They're big players, so surprising, but at least they've got on top of it.
Absolutely. Bit more positive news. The Czech Republic has eliminated Bitcoin capital gains tax for long-term holdings. So the Czech Republic has enacted a law that exempts Bitcoin holdings held for more than 3 years from capital gains tax. This legislation received unanimous approval from the nation's parliament on December the 6th and should take effect on January the 1st, 2025.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Yeah, so
That's
if you
a
hold
big
for 3
move.
years, then you don't pay any capital gains tax whatsoever. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool. Presumably, that is obviously just for their citizens, and people can maybe consider going over on a golden visa of some sort or something like that. If they have KYC Bitcoin and they wanted to sell large amounts, it might suddenly make it worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just scanning through the article. It doesn't say anything specific about kind of non-residents or anything like that, but I'm sure it will. The details will become a little bit clearer in the weeks and months that follow. But at the very least, even if you are a resident, like it's great news.
Yeah, we don't talk about the price and that sort of side very often, but one thing I do often think about is where you do have people, and I think it's most people who are heavy on the KYC side.
Oh yeah,
they at some point will want to buy some stuff, like whether it is a house or a car or whatever it is. And so for those sort of people, as the price runs and they get to a point where they're like, do you know what? I could sell X percentage of what I hold and I could really improve my life and my family's life. And yes, it might double or triple or quadruple or 10x again, but you know what? This is enough and I'm happy. This is something that people should consider is if you're in the UK or many other places, if you want to actually sell that Bitcoin, you are going to be bent over a barrel and raped up the arsehole for a lot of it. And when we're talking about big numbers, do you really want to be giving that percentage away? It might actually be better at some point in time for people to say, no, fuck that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a golden visa. I'm going to go and move somewhere else. I'm going to sell over there. I'm going to pay no taxes. And then that 25, 30, 40, whatever crazy number it's going to be in the UK over the coming years, go and spend that on your family or people you care about rather than dropping bombs.
Yeah, there's a quick producer note for Jordan here. There's a great image within this article that shows the capital gains tax on Bitcoin held for longer than a year, basically across the whole world. There's a surprising amount of countries that have 0%.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can include that, but just to list a few here: Switzerland, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, Portugal, Gibraltar, Croatia, Turkey, Malta, Slovenia, Georgia, UAE, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Seychelles, loads of the area around the Bahamas. There's loads. I'm really shocked by this.
Well, a lot of them have no capital gains. Like Portugal, for example, is no capital gains tax at all.
Oh, on anything, right.
It doesn't exist. So I imagine a lot of those other places will be similar. And, that's completely fucking logical, because it's like you've already been taxed. Your employer, if you're employed, has already been taxed to be able to pay you. Then you get a percentage of that, but you get taxed on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get all your national insurance and other bullshit and taxes. And then whatever you're left with is then inflated away with the silent weasel tax of inflation. And then anything you buy with that tiny bit that you have left, you pay sales taxes on and VAT on and any other crazy taxes on the things that you might buy. And then whatever's left over that you want to put into savings or any sort of financial vehicle, if you invest it and you lose all of it, you take all the losses. But if you are right and that thing gains in value, then when you sell it, they take a large percentage of that gain as well. So it is just
scandalous.
It's fucking disgusting. Oh, and then at least when you die, they take 40% so that your kids don't get anything. That's the best one.
Yeah, it's just completely like leaves me lost for words sometimes.
Yeah.
On the flip side of this scale as well, just there's also some shocking numbers. Like Japan is 45%, Denmark 42%, Ireland 33%, France 30%. There's some wild numbers here. Cuba, Cuba's probably not a surprise, 35%.
Yeah.
Austria 27.5%. Like, yeah, it's
that's crazy. That's
it
proper
is, there's
mental.
some crazy numbers. Crazy. And, imagine you've been sitting on this for like 10 years. Like, that's not chump change, paying 45% of your increase in value. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so if you are one of those people and you have a lot of KYC Bitcoin and you do decide that it's your time to sell, please consider moving somewhere where you're not going to be taxed. And then you can look at what your tax bill would have been for that, what the cap gains would have been for that. Go and donate it to FREESAMOURAI or something that actually makes a difference. Don't give it to these fucking cunts.
Yeah. Co-sign that.
Run over.
Final news item. El Salvador's back in bed with the IMF. They have agreed to scale back their Bitcoin policies in return for a $1.4 billion loan from the IMF.
Oh, good.
So quite the about turn for Mr. What's his name?
Bukele?
I was going to say, yeah, Bukele. I was going to say Mele, but that's he's the Argentinian one, isn't he? So they've secured a 1.4 billion loan from the IMF. Immediately, everybody on Bitcoin Twitter was running to say, "Oh yeah, he's gonna lump it all into Bitcoin."
Yeah.
And same as you, was like, "Yeah, fucking right." But in the interest of me being honest and humble, it does seem as though they have started to increase the amount of Bitcoin that they're buying versus their current cadence. So he does seem to be increasing his Bitcoin balance more significantly than he ever used to. Not to the tune of 1.4 billion, I must add. Like it's a little bit of an increase, but I don't know, maybe he's testing the waters. They have had to scale back. I think Bitcoin is now no longer, well, it depends on who you ask, but people are saying it is technically still legal tender, although it's voluntary now, which to me doesn't mean legal tender.
Mm-hmm.
And also that I think you now have, you can only pay your taxes in US dollars, and the government's participation with their crypto e-wallet, I don't know who's given it that term, but the Chivo wallet is going to be unwound as well. So they're going to kind of, I guess, sunset that wallet. So you can technically still use Bitcoin in the country as part of this deal, but it's voluntary. So a merchant can easily tell you to do one if they don't want Bitcoin. And you can no longer pay your taxes in USD as well. In Bitcoin, should I say.
I can't say that I'm that surprised.
Likewise.
And it goes to show, like, although I've just gone on a rant about actually using the legal system in some way to avoid taxes, at the same time, don't change your whole life just because a law has changed in a certain country, because you don't know how long that can change, and it only takes a day and bang, everything is gone. You think of all the people who have decided to up and leave and move their countries and businesses and everything and their families over there, and it only takes a day to be changed. So just be cautious. But on the other side, I would just say, like, if the IMF want to come to me and give me $1.4 billion, I will stop my Bitcoin policy for ungovernable misfits. All right. So just let me put that out there. Just a cheeky 1.4 bill. And we will, I don't know, what will we do? We'll accept fiat on the store or something like that. So just think about it.
Yeah, so just to circle back on how much he's purchasing, it seems as though he used to do basically 1 Bitcoin every day, which is kind of nice. I like that kind of, gradual increase. And then on the 19th of December, the country bought 11 Bitcoin, and then he did another 11 Bitcoin like a couple of days later as well. And that's all been within the last couple of weeks since all this has been announced. So take from that what you will.
We will see.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, and there's also been a carrot dangled again by the IMF of a further 3.5 billion as kind of like, I guess, if you continue to play ball, you can have some more of our fake money.
Okay.
So we shall see, indeed. All right, mate. I know we're on a tight rip. That's the end of the news. No software updates today, but if people are wanting to stay up to speed, just check out the No Bullshit Bitcoin feed. They have been the backbone of the show this year. To where I get all of the news articles and software update details for everything that we do on the Bitcoin Brief. So thank you to those guys as well. But any other business, mate? Anything you want to sign off with? It's been a fun year. It's been an interesting year. It's been an enjoyable year, and it's been a busy year. But it's good to see, from my perspective, listener base of the podcast growing, new shows on the horizon for the Ungovernable Misfits media verse, which I'm very excited about. So cheers to more of the same in 2025, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, and thanks for having me along on the journey with you.
Yeah, well, cheers to all the Ungovernable Misfits, everyone in the crew. And same to you, mate. I appreciate everything that you put into this show and everything that you've taught me over the years. It's amazing to have you part of the team. And I'm very excited to have a new announcement in 2025. And, I'll tell you what. Do you want to hear a little song that I made yesterday?
I absolutely do. Yes.
Leaning on some of my AI skills here, but here we are. We'll sign out with this. We love you all.
I like it already.
Snowflakes, tears fall because we are still here. Ungovernable spirits have no fear. The listener streaming does not cease. Podcasting 2.0 masterpiece. Crazy misfits trading peer to peer. You are the parasite's biggest fear. Your value keeps our fire bright. Every download feels just right. We wish you an ungovernable Christmas with every wild and crazy twist. Thank you, cunts, for your love and cheer, for sticking with us year by year. No bankers telling us to hush. Your support is enough to make a hash slut blush. Through the highs and through the lows, you've made our ungovernable spirit grow. Value for value, love is true. A podcast family thanks to you. Your dedication fuels our song. Together we misfits are strong. We wish you an ungovernable Christmas with every wild and crazy twist. Thank you, cunts, for your love and cheer, for sticking with us year by year. We wish you an ungovernable Christmas with every wild and crazy twist. Thank you, cunts, for your love and cheer, for sticking with us year by year, for sticking with us year by year, for sticking with us year by year.
Thank you, cunts, for sticking with us year by year. Have an amazing Christmas.
That was beautiful. That was excellent. I'm very impressed that you got the C-bomb to sound so festive.
Thank you, cunts. Yeah.
I like the way you said ungovernable as well.
Ungovernable.
It's like it was 3 words mashed together.
Yeah, I kept fucking around with it to try and get it right, but that was the best I could do with the morning.
No, that was great. I feel like that's going to be running around my head for the next couple of weeks.
Well, yeah, to you and your fam and to all the ungovernable misfits, have an amazing Christmas and New Year, and we will see you in 2025.
Cheers, guys.